Okay, we'll call the Pownal Select Board to order on Thursday, November 13th at 7 PM. The agenda approval of the minutes of 11/6/14, warrants, mail, and under old business, we have animal control officer talking about stray dogs and boarding issues, and then we have the BCRC Michael Batcher talking about hazardous mitigation plan and solid waste.
So moved.
Second.
Anything be added?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Approve of the minutes of 11/6/14.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on the minutes? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Warrants. Payroll ending 11/14/14 in the amount of $5,192.45. This one will raise a few eyebrows. Accounts payable ending 11/14/14 in the amount of $3,624,376.81. The large items are the Mount Anthony School tax, which was $1,447,578, and the Pownal Elementary School, which was $1,596,751, and our road tax to the road department was $558,142, and that's the lion's share of what that $3,624,376.81 was. Take a motion to approve those
Make a motion to approve.
warrants.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Mail. First, so I don't forget. Town of Pownal will hold a public hearing for E911 road naming on Thursday, November 20th, 2014 at 6:30 PM. So people know. And then we have the Vermont Leagues of Cities and Towns news. And that takes care of that. Linda, could you see that that winds up in my box, that Vermont Leagues of Cities Town News?
Sure you can have that one.
Yeah. Thanks.
Why don't you just take it, or it's gonna.
I want to show it to the planning board for some of the training and stuff in it, that's why. Thanks, though. Okay, old business, animal control officer, stray dogs and boarding issues.
How would you like to commence?
Announce to the people who you are, and then.
I'm Marvin Vincent, Pownal's Animal Control Officer, and I pick up dogs and drop them off. Deal with dog issues. I deal with complaints and dog issues.
Okay, and I think we invited you here, right? We asked you to come.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's because we had had some concerns to do with questions from where the animals were boarded. Some of us had had some calls. Somebody from town had brought some animals up there, which I think you had authorized. It was, what was the,
I think there was a beagle that got dropped off.
it was a couple of animals and the concern that the boarding
I
kennels had. No, this was the one from,
Crystal Gardner.
yeah, Crystal Guard.
Oh, yes, Crystal and I
Those are
spoke.
the two dogs that ended up in New Hampshire. Those two dogs.
Yes, but, yes.
That's why I know why I asked you to come in,
Yes, yes,
because I
yes.
was handling the phone calls that was going between the boarding kennels and there.
Did you get a copy of my,
Yes, I did get a copy of the
That's-
report. So my, and I think before we had the copy of the report is when I had requested you to come in, because I just wanted to know, because there seemed to be some issues between whether we were being bored and you and those people
right, yes.
that were running the place.
Yes.
So I just wanted to know what that was all about.
The kennel in the past, and I actually have paperwork, has allowed people to pick their own dogs up. That rule changed according to whims. The 2 dogs that are in question were dropped off there because during the hours I was unavailable. The hours of the kennel are quite restrictive. The dogs were there for 5 days. I had to, in order to remove them in 5 days, I had to be there at 9 o'clock in the morning on Monday morning, which was the holiday, October 13th, I believe. And at that point, I had no place else to take those dogs. I had to keep them. I kept those dogs overnight and ended up driving them up to a no-kill shelter, a beautiful facility in Laconia, New Hampshire, because that was the only facility that would take them. In the meantime, my dog got sick because these dogs were sick. And one of the issues is that because the time that the kennel has is so restrictive to dropping dogs off and picking dogs up, it is not conducive to the ACO to be able to have another job. If I'm working and I have to be there between 9 and noon or 3 and 6, if somebody picks up a dog if I have to pick up a dog, if I get a call at 12:30, I have to hold on to that dog until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I have in the past done that. I have a $300 bill right now from my dog being sick because of the dogs that I held on to and brought up to New Hampshire. I'm no longer willing to hold dogs. So the issue is that this municipality here, Pownal, has a different contract than some of the other municipalities who have access to the kennel on a different time schedule. So we are restricted, and the ACO, who is part-time, I'm not full-time, is restricted to a very short amount of time. And if you're 5 minutes late, she has no tolerance, the person who we have the contract with. So I spoke to some of the other dog offices, and one of the suggestions that we all kind of came up with was that municipal kennel or shelter for Shaftesbury, Bennington, Woodford, Pownal, just a suggestion. I know you had another kennel coming in.
Yeah.
I don't, you know.
Yeah, there's one down.
My honest belief is that the issues with the timing is deeper than just she doesn't come on time to pick up dogs and drop dogs off. The contract states that we need, if a dog is sick, that if I'm not available, and I was not available when those dogs were dropped off, that they needed to get the dog to the vet. And that was an issue with them. I had to come home, go to the vet with the dogs, which was an inconvenience for me, but I did it. And I don't mean it's an inconvenience because I know it's my job, but it was just the time constraints with this. It's simple. The time constraints with this contract really I have no tools to do my job. I can't do anything in a timely manner. It's very difficult to hold a dog overnight. And if they're sick, there's no way of keeping them in West Mountain. There's no place to isolate dogs. If I have a dog that I can't tell has rabies and they clearly look sick, no one's going to take the dog. I can't take the dog. So we need to come up with a solution how we're going to deal with when I have to pick a dog up and it's in between hours, or I don't have an answer for you.
Do you want to respond to anything? that
I
was-
just wanted to hear what she got to say. So
No, I
what-
don't think we're ready to, I think we wanna hear what everybody has to say first, really. Because obviously you brought someone here from another kennel, so I'd like to hear
Yeah,
what she has to say first.
Well,
Personally.
I had requested her to come because I wasn't sure, based on the letter we received from you that said we were done in 30 days or something. If I forget just what the wording was. So I wanted to make sure we have somebody here if we need to talk to them also about the possible contract.
They
Watch
didn't send
out.
the letter, but we
Oh,
got
no,
corrected.
that's not us.
They're
It's
not them
them.
people.
This is not
No,
Marty.
no.
Oh, this another party?
Yes,
Okay.
that's not them.
Yeah, don't hang that collar
I'm
on
like,
her neck.
30
No,
I'm
no,
sorry
no,
then.
no,
I'm sorry then.
No, okay, no.
I'm sorry.
That's not us.
Yeah, because there was an issue with that too.
Okay.
So you're another
The
party.
morning people aren't here,
No.
No, okay,
or, right?
okay. So what else did you want to hear?
No, we were just
Just,
curious, you know,
You mentioned she's from another
Another
kennel, so I
kennel.
was just
Yeah.
curious as to what
Yeah,
her
and what-
objection is.
again, what I asked her to come to see if she was open to providing us with kennel services or boarding services.
What do we have currently
Well,
in
is she?
place?
Well, currently what we have in place is a letter from somebody that told us they were gonna stop if we didn't do something.
Well,
It's-
they were gonna,
Cancel
we
our
were
contract.
canceled out if, we didn't, follow our contract to the letter pretty well.
And it's,
Am I,
Well, I guess my issue with it is that not all the municipalities have the same contract.
okay,
Different people have different contracts. The contract that I have to abide by is far more restrictive than other municipalities do not have this issue because of the restriction in the times for this contract.
okay,
And that's because of the time constraints?
Question?
Sure.
Is this another kennel, like as in a boarding facility that is holding them, or is this a kennel / hospital that's holding them?
It's not a hospital.
It's not a hospital.
it's a board.
Boarding
An
kennel.
actual board, okay.
It's not a hospital. The West Mountain, we have a contract with. So if the dogs are
So
sick.
West Mountain is not holding any sick?
no, this is Great
No,
Fields.
that's a
Great
vet.
Fields,
Great
Great
Fields.
Fields is the one that we have.
Kennel
Okay.
is who we have.
Okay.
Where the
I was
contract.
just,
Not
I was
West
just
Mountain.
trying to also become clear, cause I didn't have a lot of time to prepare for anything, I wasn't sure what was going on. I know I've considered actually coming to maybe offer some space.
You're the new one in
I'm the
town,
new
correct?
kennel, yeah, here
Okay.
in
Down
Pownal.
on,
And there's a lot of times that I do have available spaces to put them. It is one large room, so if there was something airborne that another dog could catch, that would be a concern where I would say they would need medical attention. And I don't really have an issue bringing them for that. So you're not available to be there to pick them up, to bring them. If it's something that I can do during my break, I'm more than willing to do something like that. It is not very far from me.
No, I
You
appreciate
know.
that. My concern, and I'm gonna be really honest here, my concern with an open kennel is that if you do have a dog, I mean, if you bring people in, they have to have Bordetella, they have to
Yes.
have rabies.
That was
Some
one
of
my
these dogs,
concern.
I can't trace that.
Right.
Most people would not, I would not put my dog in an open kennel if there were dogs like I picked up. I mean, I ended up, like I said, with almost a $300 bill. The dogs were wonderful dogs, but I had to bring them to the Humane Society. They were placed together, which was a wonderful outcome. And I worked hard to do that. But my concern is if I was a paying customer, I would be concerned
Yeah.
with not
And that was
knowing.
one of the issues my husband and I have talked about, is the fact that not knowing background, not knowing vaccine history, being that we are an open facility where there's no isolation room,
You'd also almost,
would-
you'd have to have a quarantine
Yeah.
room.
I'd have to have a completely separate area
You would.
in order to do something like that. Because I have, I've had many calls, to be honest, because nobody can be contacted for dogs. Because I honestly didn't even know who was in control of it all. I've heard a couple names.
Oh,
I
okay.
just I didn't know.
Right.
And the people that had contacted me had tried various other calls and nobody could get through, so they would contact me, and they were holding on to the dog, but I would Facebook and make calls, and luckily we've found owners for all the dogs that have come up
Nice.
as strays and missing.
Yeah.
And I've held one dog before, but my kennel was empty,
Right.
so I really didn't have an issue
Right.
doing that.
This comes in, the calls come in spurts. And another thing I'd like to address is I'm not really sure what's going on, but yesterday, I got two yesterday. I'm going to call them prank calls because they came on my personal phone rather than the town of Pownal, in regard to, one of them was somebody pretending to look for a lost Cocker Spaniel, and the other one was at midnight last night telling me that there was a feral cat in their house and that they were scared to death of it and they were going to shoot it, and that the state police needed to come call me to get the cat out of the house. So I don't know what that was all about. And again, it woke me out of a sound sleep on my personal phone. So I think we probably need to get that number, the Pownal number, out again so that everybody understands it. If you have a dog issue, you need to call 802-379-8771. Because I will not answer my other phone.
What was the number again?
Repeat it.
It's 802-379-8771.
And I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Arvin, it's Arvin.
So if somebody was to contact me saying they have a.
Yes, just
a
give them that
dog.
number.
Okay.
What would it,
I-
oh, I'm sorry.
No, I think that you, go ahead, please.
What would it take for an isolation room?
Pretty much just a separate, completely separate space from where I have my other pets, my healthy boarding pets with a good ventilation, a kennel, or, you know, a
Proper
cage.
heating and so forth.
Yeah, heating and cooling, things like that. Which my building is all just one big open room. I have one separate room, but that's my cat room. And I wouldn't want a chance putting a pet in there either.
I think when you're talking about isolation, you have to realize it's, especially with kennel cough and different diseases, if you are in the same confined
Yep.
area, you have a ventilation with open air. You'll find like at West Mountain that they do have a filtration system in their air, even though if you bring a dog in there or what that does have a problem, it's still, you go into one specific room, but there's a very intense
Yeah.
filtration
I know
system that's
from
going
working at the
on.
Greylock Animal Hospital, our isolation room was, you had to go outside of the building into a
Right, separate
separate
room.
Yep.
part. I mean, it
Yes.
was not even, the ventilation system wasn't
But
even
it's
linked
separate
together.
room,
Yep.
yeah.
We had to completely gown
Oh,
up,
that's-
glove,
right.
do alcohol in our
Right.
shoes
That's
after
why I think
leaving.
it's-
I mean, when you're
personally-
talking possible parvo, which is huge.
Oh, I agree with your problem. I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
here to argue.
The
Oh, no,
majority
I'm
of it
not
is
arguing.
the majority of
I'm
it is the
supportive.
kennel cough. It's so contagious.
Yes, it
My
is.
dog was in a car, 4 days after that, and came down exactly 5 days later.
Yeah.
Came down with kennel cough, a very bad case of it.
Yeah.
So you don't want. That's what we want
So
to
I think
avoid.
I think what the town of Pownal personally needs to do is, and I like the idea of, Bennington has a problem, Shaftesbury has a problem. I think ideally it would be great if all of the towns could have a meeting together and come up with a, it doesn't have to be a Pownal problem, it could be a Pownal, Bennington, Shaftesbury, all the towns' problems, and you all come up with like a solution together. One of the reasons why we came here was we had a beagle come down we live on Mount Anthony Road, come down the road on Monday. Older little gentleman, but he was not feeling well, but we did put it out. I don't breed, but I have German Shepherds, and so I had to put this dog in an outbuilding in a separate area because you were not able to take him, and we had to go to the inconvenience of putting this dog out in an outroom, making sure he had a nice little crate, support system, and we had to make sure that we were clean between going to him and
we had
our
boots on
dogs.
with
Yep.
Clorox wipes,
know,
we went through
um,
them and,
Yep.
some
We,
wipes
you
and
know,
everything,
Yep.
we went through, and I'll be honest with you, Jen, the animal control officer up in Bennington, was the most helpful to us. We ended up Martha works for the Bennington Banner. We were able to get it on Facebook. We were able to find the owners. I'm not going to go into particulars about that, but some issues are going to be addressed through animal control with this individual that does own the dog, now does have the dog back home. But, we went through 3 days of intense, having to take care of this little guy. Our time from work and whatnot. And I don't think that's fair that as a resident of Pownal, and this is the third time this has happened over the last 15, 20 years, but still, if I call, I should be able to have a support system here. I couldn't turn my back to that dog. I couldn't walk away from that dog. He's, we found out he's a 10-year-old beagle, sweet little guy, and, we had to address the issue. But we have to come up with a solution, and I think it's gotta be a team effort through all of the towns.
Because, you know, the owner of the dog lived in Bennington, but yet the dog was found here.
Right.
okay? And so, and you're gonna.
Yeah, I
find-
have all the messages.
And, you know,
She
you're gonna find-
kept me,
yeah,
she
you're
kept
gonna find
contact.
you're gonna find a situation where it's not gonna be a Pownal person lost the dog, or, you know, and they're seriously looking for the dog.
They're in Williamstown. The Pownal dogs are in Williamstown all the time, so it's
I mean, it's like,
constant.
it goes around.
It's
the
constant,
area.
yeah.
So
Or
that's
even
what I'm
New
saying, you know, I'm thinking if we could come up with some kind of system so that we would have everybody in the area, you know, whether it's Woodford or Bennington or Pownal, as one, you know, big support system to help each other, instead of saying, well, I'm sorry.
Location to drop the dogs
Dogs
off.
off.
Right. I think if there's a convenient location to drop the dogs off, then you have a central communication system in some way because you have one person who knows what's going on in all the towns, and it's easy, even if there's a phone number there for someone to, in other words, I got a call, Killer's missing again. You know, Killer, the dog. And this is the third or fourth time in the last year. I haven't heard it from anybody. I'm not going to go out and look for the dog. The owners are out looking for the dog. But if somebody picked that dog up and it's sitting in Bennington, although it's not, but I'm just saying for example, and the dog's overnight and no one's answering the call, or I can't track the dog down. The owners can't track the dog down. So it would be nice to have some kind of
That's
a
one
central.
nice thing about Facebook, that's come about. I mean, I worked for the
That's-
Banner, you know, back in 2002 through 2004, and I started the pet page there, working with Second Chance Animal Shelter to get the animals adopted. Once they've gotten to the shelter, trying to find their homes. Advertising, you know, and got sponsors for it. And back then, there was no Facebook, there was
Right.
none of this. You know, you put a little ad in the paper, which you got for free, which, you know, if you were concerned about your pet, you think, gee, let me look in the Banner and see if there's somebody
Right, they used
found
to-
it.
right.
Or I would call whoever was animal control
Yep.
at that time and say, you know, have you seen a dog? Well, now, with Facebook, you can go in and put the dog's picture on there.
And right, and we
And you know
can.
what happens is, not to interrupt you, but what happens is, if you have the dog and you sincerely are trying to find this dog, and I've called you, or I've called Jen, or I've called whoever it is, I've called Second Chance, and I'm frantic because I'm really wanting to find my dog. Okay, I can look on Facebook, that's my dog,
Right.
and I'll know where to go. But if I lost my dog or my dog's gone and I really don't want to find my dog,
Right.
okay, which happens, folks. I mean, let's face
yeah.
it. You
That's
know,
the majority
dogs
of
get
them.
Dumped, you know, dogs get dumped all the
There's a
time.
lot of irresponsible pet owners
There's a-
out there.
yeah.
What Facebook
That's
also
all about
does.
That's what you know, their problems becoming our problem.
Right.
Well, what Facebook also does, it puts an embarrassing factor in it, because if somebody
And
goes,
this
oh,
is
that
what
dog,
just happened.
this dog lives next door to me, that dog belongs to
So
so-and-so.
and so. Yep.
And
Okay.
that's what
I
happened
found one
here.
of the
This-
owners to mine.
The beagle. That's
Yeah.
Yeah,
This
we
dog
put it on
belongs to so-and-so.
Facebook, and the owners, we found out who the owners were.
well. If we could
So
have
we went to the owners.
right.
Well, we didn't, Jen did.
Jen.
Right. If we could have a
told-
central location, for example, if you had something like that, we could have a municipal found dog page on Facebook that would be
Well, that's what we're trying to set up with the Banner right now, is coming up with something like that.
that would be
But
fantastic.
In the meantime, we have a more immediate problem here in Pownal.
Yeah.
It's like,
I
we
mean,
don't have a
I've
place to
gotten-
take dogs
No,
right
we
now.
have no place to take dogs.
Just on 346 alone, in the last 3 weeks, I got calls for 5 different dogs being found on Route 346.
Why aren't they calling me?
I've had a couple say that they have, but your voicemail box was full and could not leave a message.
Not this
and
one.
to me,
That's why
almost
I think it's the
everybody
number.
that has talked to me about it has said that the mailbox was full. Actually, I had an
It's my
incident
old
where
number.
I had gotten bit and had to go to the ER, and they tried to contact you, I believe.
At the 413 number?
I have no idea.
Okay.
And same thing, got the mailbox was full and couldn't leave a message.
That was the 413 number.
So that, I know that one has been an issue.
Yep, that was the 413 number.
And our situation, we did not have any support from Pownal on this dog. You know, we had to take care of the whole situation for 3 days
So there's
ourselves.
no
I actually beg to
designated
differ. You
spot?
left a lot of
We didn't ask
voice
you to
messages. No,
we
I
didn't
beg to
ask you
differ.
intervene.
Yeah, okay, all right.
We didn't ask
I
you to
didn't, okay.
intervene, all we,
Because you had said on the first call you had no place to put them.
I have no, right,
had no
okay.
place to put
So
'em, and
we
if he
figured,
had kennel
you know, we
cough,
kept calling
Yeah,
you
that
to
was
keep
my
you
big, you
updated.
did, and that was wonderful. The communication was great, and I think
Updated.
that's what we needed. That's the point.
So
Updated,
there's
but I would like,
building?
and that's fine to keep you updated, but I would like to have a response to my needs.
Right.
Okay, you know, and we were getting pretty desperate because we have a nice outbuilding and I have had for sheep and some animals, but so we had to separate this whole thing off, close it all up, make a put a heating unit and everything in there for the little guy. I mean, you know, we went out of our way. You know,
I understand that, and there are also state stipulations as to if you're going to, as a town entity, if you're going to operate a boarding facility, and I'm sure you know this, you probably had to go through it. There are state stipulations. Now, we have discussed this in the past. Okay, we have talked about putting something at the landfill property. However, there's no water. Okay, we just got electric there for the guys that run the transfer station, etc. You have to meet guidelines, and I am not opposed to meeting with Bennington, Shasberry, Arlington, having the select boards come together and do something on a county-wide basis. I'm not opposed to that, but it's a big expense for an individual town. And you all just paid your tax bill. And we all know that most of these people in this town, as well as other towns, are strapped. That's why I feel if it could be a more of a county effort, such as, and you need a central location too. Okay, central, that if somebody in Arlington, you know, and I hate to go Bennington, but Bennington is kind of in the middle of Shasberry, Arlington, Woodford, and Pownal. I don't know, it's a land thing, you know, then if that does go through, all these towns have to incorporate that into their budgets, and that's, it would be a great thing because then all the ACOs, animal control officers, would have keys, etc. They could, you know,
in an ideal world, that's
in an ideal world. I just, again, I'm not adverse to meeting with other select boards. I'm sure that most of you members wouldn't mind doing that, but this is not something that's going to happen for quite a while.
Well, the solution
So
would
in-
be,
You know,
So in the meantime, I think, no offense, but in the meantime, if we can't get something set up where there's a place to take a dog, like now, then I don't. With
No,
all-
it's true.
Then I think we need animal control that can house it.
well,
Again,
I got
right.
one more. Where does Bennington go with their dogs now when their animal control officer catches?
Great field.
Great fields.
They have a different situation. Their contract allows
yeah,
them
it
to
seems
go in
like
and out
there's
anytime they want.
depending on who you are, there's a different contract.
Well,
Which
well, I think the thing to do is, let's find out what these other contracts are. Listen.
why are we beating treaty
Yeah.
differently?
Well, I see it. I see it.
I don't see where that's an issue. There's something strange here going on. If
Well, I see it different.
She can do whatever she wants.
Well-
to do it, and
can do whatever she
Arlington
wants.
can find a place to take these dogs, and Woodford can find a place to take these dogs.
I don't know what
Now,
Woodford's
don't
doing.
tell me that Pownal can't find a place to take these dogs.
Uh,
Now, we need to get in the loop and find out what the news is. That's other than that, go for it.
Well, here's where I am. You know, you talk about a joint town effort to try to build a facility. It might be good if we had a joint contract with those other towns. So whoever is taking the animals from there, we're all in the same contract with the same wording.
That would
That-
be a lot smarter.
You know, to me,
Because
that
first of all, they're in the business of that.
that's right. And
I
I,
wouldn't want to lose all the dogs. And, you know,
It's really about accessibility. If you can do your job without being restricted to specific times, again, the gaps in times are difficult, very difficult. If it's a holiday, you have an hour in the morning, I've got an hour in the morning and an hour in the afternoon. If I got called on a Monday holiday at 10 o'clock, I have to hold on to that dog all day long.
and you're saying the other towns don't have to do that.
I know one town doesn't have to do it. I don't know about the other towns. I don't know their contracts. I'm not privy to that.
So where are those towns holding these pets?
Well, that was my great.
I don't-
field.
I don't know.
You know,
Yeah,
Gr-
like I don't.
at a kennel, I guess. I don't
So
know.
their
I'm not
kennel,
sure if
Great
Tracy
Fields
does
has
up
a
in-
separated area.
I don't think Tracy up in Arlington,
I don't think
I think she has her own facility.
they have their own facility.
I'm pretty sure Tracy does.
I think she does too, but I'm Woodford, I do not know.
I mean, I know I was helping out at
She
Williams.
trains
Granted, it's a
Doberman.
Mass, but I was helping in Williamstown for a little bit of time, and they just have like a small concrete building that they're holding.
And
they
Adams
can
Mass
hold-
has the same thing. They have a concrete building that they hold.
And then someone just keeps going in
Right.
and checking.
They have
out.
someone
Granted,
that-
it's not safe if you have 3 dogs that are strays. It's not all in it's
Yeah,
open.
yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
I
There's
agree. I
still
follow.
that issue of one dog getting another dog sick.
Yeah, yeah, maybe even a little fight.
no,
Well, no,
they're separated.
They are
Oh,
separated.
they're separate.
Yeah, yeah, they're
Okay, I got
separated.
it.
Yeah, but
But
it's just
it's
open
open.
air system.
I got
More
it.
like a wire.
It's
They're
a
open
kennel.
cages
Right.
is what
Yeah.
they are.
It's an open
Yeah.
area kennel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For example,
Well, you know, if I could interject here, at least the dog is found and safe. I mean, at least you can
Yeah.
say that rather than eating out of garbage cans and taking a chance of getting hit on 346 or 7. I mean, at least the dog is confined.
Yeah.
If you know, if the dog gets sick or something, you know, there's always the alternative, which none of us want to see, but we also have to be realistic about things too.
yeah, well, I don't think she wants to jeopardize her boarding customers' dogs.
No,
with-
no, and
No,
I wouldn't.
Just
one
the same way as
grooming and
this
everything else,
little
you know.
dog that
Yeah,
we
yeah,
found.
grooming.
Yeah, I'm
This
saying,
little
yeah.
dog that we found, he had, we couldn't tell, but he had like a minor cough. It didn't sound like kennel cough, but he definitely had a cough. I have German Shepherds that I train and I do tracking with, and I could not risk the idea
no.
that they would ever get
No.
that.
You know.
And, you know, my dogs aren't cheap. And I love them, even if they weren't cheap. I mean, even, you know, whatever, even though just my little pets, I would not want my dog jeopardized.
Right.
And so that's why I said we had to put it out into a separate building.
There are legal issues, as was pointed out before, with an ACO that is going to have a facility to hold dogs. They have to be licensed for a kennel, and that's
Is this? Please, I'm just throwing this. Is this something that you, as a business owner, in that, could you see yourself doing this in the future?
If I had a separate building, it would be something that I definitely would consider. Because, like we were saying, I have paying customers that come in and their dogs have to be.
Oh, absolutely, and
you know
that's
what I
why
mean?
I'm.
If
but
I had a separate area for them to go, it would definitely be something, and I would have to work something out with, obviously, one of the animal hospitals, because the dogs would need to be checked.
Mhm.
You know, I wouldn't want a dog to come in 5 days later, something really, you know, a guy hit by a car internally is hurt, but you can't
No, I
tell.
think if it needs attention,
They would take, there was no issue,
that's
there's no
right.
issue
It needs to
there.
go have be
right.
taken care of.
Most towns
I
have a
don't-
contract with.
Okay.
Okay, I don't see any problem with
So
that.
I
mean,
guess-
that's
And
common
just
sense.
this little
One
dog
of
that I had was sick, and I called Karen at the town office and I said, we need to take him to a veterinarian. Can we
So
get
vet shop
any
office should have taken
compensation?
him.
No, there was no money coming from Pownal. Chris Crawford with Bennington Kennel said that she would pay for us to have the dog taken there, which we did. But in the meantime, we were able to get a hold of the owner, and he did come and he did pay the bill. But we were, you know, we were stranded out there, and Bo said, you know, the doctor, he said, you know, he couldn't say whether the dog had kennel cough or not. I took the dog's temperature. At the time I took the dog's temperature, it was 104.5. And, you know, that's borderline, you know, we're getting, you know, that dog needed veterinarian attention. I got no support from Pownal. None. We called the Lister, Linda. Nothing. Call Shaftesbury. You know, we had to take time off of our busy days. You know, call Nelson when he gets home from work at 4. Well, what was I doing at 12 o'clock?
Till
hello? You know, we have a life too. We work too.
And
And we were treated like-
I ended up calling, you know, second chance, and I said, is there any way you can take this dog? Because if we couldn't find the owner at that time, what am I going to do with this dog? You know, I can't keep it out because the temperatures were going to like 19 degrees. A little space
We're
heater
gonna-
is not
over
going to keep this, you know, dog warm.
10-year-old dog that
I
possibly
have
And I
yet-
can't bring it in my house. So
I
what do
have
do with
yet to
this
get
dog?
second chance to take a dog. Not once
They
since
won't,
I've been.
and
They
No,
will
they
not.
won't. I talked to Sharon because I do the pet page and I know
They
them
won't.
fairly
But I
well.
think the town
She
here
wouldn't.
needs to get you know, we need to get some action
Well, we
taken
could
on
we
this.
could try again. Like I said, we could try. And you know,
All right, so then answer me this. If I find a dog, like I just did, if I find a dog just like I did, and I don't mean this to be a smartass, I'm really sincere. Can I drop it off at any of your homes?
no, I don't have the facility for it.
I don't either. I don't have anything.
Who's
to hold
got?
it.
I don't have
So
the
what do you
facility
do?
for
Just
that.
throw them back on the road?
Well, I guess.
Right now, you contact our animal control officer.
I have no
couldn't take
place
it.
to put the dog.
There's
She
no
couldn't
place.
take
Why
it.
don't
We
I-
did
I can
call
come,
her.
I can take
We
the
did
dog, but I
call
have no
her.
place to put the
Nelson,
dog.
we did call her.
I have no place to put the dog.
And
And
the
I'm sorry,
great,
but in the
great
state
fields
of
won't take it.
Vermont,
Nobody
the
takes
town
it.
has to provide a place for the dog,
And
and
we-
it's not happening.
That's why we have a contract with the kennel.
Right.
Well, it didn't happen.
Well, I think we need to,
This is serious.
yeah, right, I
I
think,
guess,
that-
I guess I
Right
don't
now,
understand why
Pownal,
the
Pownal
no.
is against the law right now. You have no facility for any animals, and this, you're breaking
think
the
we
Vermont
should
law right now.
find that.
Oh, I don't think so.
Oh,
Hold
yes,
on.
you are.
Bennington don't have a facility
Yeah.
either.
I don't think any of
Yes,
the towns.
right now,
Neither does
you-
Shasbury.
No,
I
they.
didn't say you have to have a facility, you have to have
That's what
place
you
to
just
take
said.
the dog.
And we
And
do.
there
We
was
have a
no
contract.
good hearing.
dog.
Yep.
You have no
good here.
contract.
One at a time.
Then why didn't my dog have this dog that we found, why didn't he have a place to go?
If there was a contract.
He
then
was
we-
probably on his way and you just stopped him. He was going by your house. You left him alone.
Now I don't feel bad about being a smartass.
Yeah, see, I could be a smart ass too. But I know people that are 70, 80 years old that can't pay their taxes. I'm not looking to build a dog facility in this town. I'm sorry.
Okay, but hold on. We have a contract, and what I'm hearing here
do.
is that our contract isn't being honored. Is that a true statement?
No, there's a 30-day, which is tomorrow. She cut the contract.
But when we had the contract, she wouldn't take this animal.
She would take them during specific times.
Okay?
Very
And how many
specific
days did
times.
you have it?
We had it Monday, this last Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
And there wasn't a time between there that that dog could have been picked up and brought there?
I don't know.
I couldn't
we
get the
asked.
dog.
She
I
take
couldn't get the dog. I'm not quite sure how this debacle all happened with the beagle because I got the message, and I'm not putting anything back on you, that they were gonna care for it. But one of the problems was is that the kennel's contract was up. It was up.
We were told there was no place for the dog to
There
go.
was no contract, there was no place. Bennington still,
There's
his
no
contract
place.
is still in
I
place.
think we need to.
And Bennington was not gonna
Sounds
take the
like
dog because it was a
Nelson, I
pro,
think
it was
we
a
need to
Ben,
look
it was a
into
Pownal issue,
this
Right.
issue.
you know?
And it was a Bennington dog.
It was a
Yes,
Bennington dog.
Immediately.
Okay.
You know
And
what
it was
I'm saying?
found in Pownal, so it was our issue. And,
And
and
if you have another meeting, I'd like to meet with you all privately, if I might. I have some suggestions, but I don't wanna air it. I just
Yeah.
have some
Alright.
ideas to bounce off the wall with y'all.
Okay. You can contact me by email or otherwise.
May have some solutions for you.
Okay. Okay. So it sounds like at this point, we have limited times that you can pick up the animals,
Well, we don't have a contract now, from what
and we
I'm
don't have a
told.
contract to put them anywhere
as of
anybody.
tomorrow, we
Fix
don't
them
have a
up, she has
contract.
no place to put them.
as of tomorrow. So we did have a contract.
Such
But
as
wasn't
what?
honored.
Nelson, I think.
Oh, well,
that
I
we
had to-
invited-
I know. Did you want to,
Let's see if,
I had to
do
beg
something
them
for
to
us.
take those other dogs back after I brought them to the vet. So she's been done with this contract since I started.
okay.
I'm not even sure where to go with it.
okay, well,
To be honest with you. So I guess my only thought is, I mean, I have the land space. Honestly, just putting up the building, I don't have finances to build a separate building. If there are any solutions, I would be more than happy to help
could,
in a way.
What do you
could
think a
you look
building like
into
that would
maybe
cost?
finding
I
a
can
facility
find out.
or something?
I could find out a cost for
Okay.
it. I mean, as much as
We've
I
been
love
trying to find that
animals,
out for
I don't
years.
ever-
Okay.
I would never want to see an animal be stuck somewhere, not have a place to go. I mean, it's just that's why I
Wha-
opened this, and
Okay.
if I can help out,
How, what would we need, for instance, when we talk about this building?
Basically,
Do
you
you,
need
do you, do you live in, I don't know exactly where you are. I mean, I know you're down yonder, but.
Right across from,
Okay,
American
but
Legion.
I don't know where, you know what I'm saying? Okay, but what I'm trying to, say here is, I don't see, we don't need to have a cement block building. If you're
No,
not.
that
in
was just our choice to have it cemented.
Right, but, so,
Easier to
probably,
clean.
a nice little building, on your property, would probably work for, up to 3 dogs or so.
Yeah, I
I
can't
mean, how many
imagine.
dogs do you think we're gonna have at one time?
I don't know.
I mean, somebody should say something.
3,
Say
4
three,
dogs max.
3 to 6, something like
But
that.
that's just for Pownal.
No, that's all I'm talking
we're
about.
not
No, no,
worried
no,
about
that's-
anybody
that's all
else.
I'm
I'm
talking
worried about the others at the
Okay.
moment.
All right,
I'm
Now,
worried about us.
yeah, 3
just
dogs
us.
would work.
Okay, now, and what I'm looking at is one of these buildings that are, well, you can either build one or you can go right out and we can buy it. What are they, 12 by 16 or something like that,
Yeah,
10
well,
by
we need to know
12 building?
What size do you need for 3 dogs?
Yeah. And,
My runs are
I'd say
like,
12 by 12, right? 4,
my
8, 12.
smalls are 4 by 4.
4
and then
foot.
my larges are double that. So if you have a larger dog,
4
you,
by 8.
you want a decent. I
Right.
mean, if they're going to be confined to this space, you don't want to put them in.
no,
You
that's
know.
what and we can have a run outside. I mean, you can even have that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I mean, if you're
little
taking care of the dog, I mean, you can have the dog there and then you can take the dog out of this building and put it in its dog coop and its run. I mean, come on, that's life. That's how you take care of an animal.
Right.
Okay? So, maybe, I agree with Ron. I don't wanna get involved in the dog business, the town. I don't, okay? But if it could be worked out with someone, I would like to hear some
Some
dollar
numbers.
input,
Some numbers.
you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
And you,
Okay.
We can try to find out some figures. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, because we would have, unfortunately, the way the land was excavated, there would probably have to be some excavating to clear a spot.
okay.
Well, the town.
So.
We can clear it.
We can
Okay,
clear
I just
No,
wanted
okay,
to add that because where we had to put the
Oh,
building, we only cleared enough space for what we
I
needed.
understand. Okay, and that would maybe take a little fill or do a little something like that
Yeah.
Move it around.
to do something.
But
So-
let me talk to my husband first
Please.
as well.
Yeah.
And
wanna
would
make
you
a
would you
decision.
report back to us,
Definitely.
please,
Yeah.
in a
And maybe
timely
try to
manner,
come up with
because
something.
obviously this is
give us a cost estimate.
I think
and what
it's
it is.
it's urgent.
Yep.
It's urgent, that's right,
Yeah.
I agree.
And
And
maybe
then I just want to add, like, what would I know, like, in my waivers, there's the, after 10 days, rights are relinquished. What?
We have 5 days you
5
can hold them,
days.
and then
Oh, it's 5.
then they have to go to either a humane facility or they have to be put down if somebody's
Well,
not.
So they
willing
wouldn't
to
be
take them.
staying there.
Do,
it
well,
would
yeah,
be-
right,
5
do the
days.
cost,
By
I think.
law, 5 days.
Okay.
Okay.
And then there was. So is there a place now where after that 5-day holding period that they're going?
Yeah,
There is.
doggy heaven.
Oh, well, I don't want to hear that. I wouldn't allow that, honestly. I
I've
would
only
do
had to
it.
do.
I would
I
do
have
my-
been
If
so
you're
good.
gonna
I've only had
involve-
one that I've
if you're
had to
gonna
do
get
it with.
With animal control, and especially in this particular area of the country where we are right here, you're going to have to realize that Second Chance does not want to have the type of dogs that most of them
Right.
that get picked up here
Mm-hmm.
are.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
if
I've
it's a
seen
nice-
it
if
from
it's a
working at
nice-
the Greylock Animal Hospital. We had somebody got dumped to us, and
Well,
Well,
if it's
we
an,
found home.
most
if it's
most
an
of them in
animal
this
that
town
isn't,
end
that
up
doesn't bite,
euthanized.
and
only
you know,
had
them are some things
Oh, yeah,
that
there's
we
that.
need to work out.
Yeah. We're getting way off the subject.
We are one
here,
at a
though.
time, yeah.
Let's-
I don't want
let's-
her getting herself
All right.
into something she can't handle.
All right,
Well,
so-
she's in the business, and I'm sure she's aware
No,
of.
she's in a real
you
sweet
know.
part of the business.
Well, okay, but
well, I
it's
worked at the animal hospital.
yeah.
I mean, I
Seems
I've
to me you have a
seen
background.
lot of both worlds, so.
Yeah, they're okay. Very
all
good.
right, but again, we are starting to repeat
let's-
ourselves.
let's-
So,
Well, honestly, do you want me to say, oh yes, I want to see them go to heaven? No, that is a
But I'm just
sensitive
saying,
part of
I
me.
wanna make sure
If
you
it
can
had-
deal with it, that's all
But if
I'm
it had to
saying.
be done, I'm realistic.
Okay, that's
Okay,
fine. That's
all right.
fine.
all right, here's where we're at, rather than keep repeating ourselves. You're gonna go away, give us some sort of cost estimate of what you think something would need to be done, find out if you even
Yeah,
agree to
I'll-
do it.
I'll definitely
there's a whole
report
bunch of
back.
stuff, and report back to us. At this point, you have no place to take animals?
Nope.
Okay,
As of,
Well,
and I can't take them. I don't have the facility to take them.
Yep.
I had these dogs out on my porch on a crate, in crates.
And it's gonna be too cold for that.
Yeah, it
Are
was
you
warm
gonna-
enough, thank God.
you were gonna check at one point to see if there was somewhere.
Well, when it goes back to the same old story, you have to pick up a dog. You have to have a qualified person to
Well,
deal.
I'm saying that she's picking them up. What's
want-
this, we need a place where they can put them until a decision is made.
The problem is nowadays, what, the rules are, not just in the old place. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes.
You follow, okay, so,
We need somebody that has a shed and is gonna tend to them. That's what
Right.
we need.
and I know that, we might have a little space here, but I think that, we have one person at this time, and I don't think we're gonna end up with a house full of people, coming here to save us or to help us, so I'm gonna stick with the one we've got.
I'm just looking,
I'm
I'm
sorry,
just
but
looking,
that's the way it is.
here's where I am, Henry.
Okay,
Well,
If you get a call
as I
this
said,
week-
I would like to talk to the two of you privately.
okay.
Yeah, okay, we shouldn't be much longer.
Okay.
I hope, we'll see. Okay, at this,
we're gonna move
end
on
this.
then.
this
We're
topic.
gonna do
Move
the
on.
best we can.
Maybe
And
one day
Okay, if you
hopefully
wait
very
around.
soon there'll be a solution,
That's why I'm here.
Okay,
okay? Thank you so much for
Yes.
coming in,
Thank you,
everyone.
please.
Appreciate it.
Do you need anything
If
else
you
from me
have any
guys?
information, you can get back to Linda.
Michael,
Okay.
Right, Linda? I mean,
come on up
No,
to the
other than,
table.
other than the fact that Arvin, if you could, I know you have a very busy schedule, even if you could just maybe once in a while send in a written report.
Sure.
I know your time is valuable, but it kind of would be nice to know, this month, like an end of month report.
Sure.
We picked up 5 stray dogs.
You got it.
Dog number 1 went here, dog number 2 went there. Just a monthly report so that, because really, I don't think we have
Even
any
if you had phone
statistics to
calls,
go by.
even if you have phone calls.
And
I'd
I
like to
think
know.
if we start now on a monthly basis, just a monthly report, it would give us a census as to how big or how
What criteria do you want in the report?
how many dogs were picked up, how many dogs. I don't know. You don't do cats, right? You're just
I get a lot of cat calls.
Here's what I go. You want? It's like me giving the zoning administrator. We want to have a report on the issues you have to handle, rather than try to tell us how many dogs or this. When you get a phone call that's related to Pownal,
Well, I keep a log. I've got logs.
a
You
log.
guys can-
Give us a log as a
Put
report.
Logs up there. You can go into them anytime you'd like if you want to do that.
They're called incident reports.
Yeah. Why don't you just give us those?
Okay.
okay with a
You know
summary.
what I'll do? I'll
But
just
put them in
make-
our mail so we see them and we know
I'll
what's
put 'em
going
in,
on.
I'll put my monthly. I'll put my incident reports in a binder,
That would be great.
and I'll just write how many dog calls, how many I picked up.
And whatever results.
Those are all on. That's all on the
Okay.
incident reports. But
Okay,
I was
great.
just wondering if I could, on the
Yeah, you're
front
just
of
saying
that
the outside
report,
3 dogs, 4 dogs, whatever there is for the month.
because sometimes there's a lot of calls, but there's only one pickup.
Yeah, but I like to know how many calls you're getting too, because of the issues we're hearing. And if you're getting 16 calls, then
Well,
you
here's
got 16 calls.
just you can look at this. Here's my phone. There's not one phone call that's been erased since I got this phone. Every single phone call I've received, a message to was there. And if you go into my phone log, you can see every single phone call that's come through.
And again, just give your phone number out one more time, please, for the camera. 802-379.
So if you have a dog issue, it's 802-379-8771.
It calls all the way from Albany, New York, huh?
Well, if they're over there and they call me, the GPS picks it up. Yes, I do get calls from Albany, New York.
Well, thank you very much. I think we're taking our first infantile steps in the right
Please,
direction, and
And we need all the help we can get.
Very much so.
Well, and I had thought about it even prior to this because I knew there wasn't very many places to go, obviously just from the calls that I was getting. And I just asked the people to keep them in their home and I was doing all that I can just on Facebook to find the owners, and thankfully, all of the ones that I have gotten calls for have found their homeowners.
When did you open your kennel?
About 6 months ago in
Yep.
May.
Nice.
So, and just a week ago, there was
Early this spring is when
Yeah.
I know that part.
Yeah.
That's all I know about you.
Now there was a German Shepherd actually right down my road that was laying on the side of the road that somebody thought was from my kennel. And I got a gentleman called me from the trailer park. He picked the dog up. An hour later, we found the owner. So we've been I haven't had one that's gone more than 3 days without finding owner. I'm very adamant about
Good.
finding them. And
Well, thank you very much.
sounds
And we look
like-
forward to hearing from you.
You might want to talk to the animal control officer and get some,
Well,
I
I'm
definitely
kind of
wouldn't
chuckling
mind.
because I'm like, no wonder why I haven't been getting any calls.
everybody's calling me. So, but I will definitely touch base with you guys, and
Okay.
as soon
Thank
as
you.
I get something, I'll report back to you.
Thank you very
thank
much.
you very much.
Who do I exactly talk to? Or-
Call Linda.
Call Linda, she'll put you on the schedule.
Okay, Linda.
823-0132. Right, Linda?
Correct.
All right.
And at a particular time, better.
I'm here 9 to 5.
Monday through Friday. We haven't got a working weekend yet.
Not going to either. Okay.
Okay.
Free to go?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for
Call me
coming.
As well, if there's any further information or news or.
Okay.
Okay,
questions or
will do.
anything, so.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
It was nice to meet you.
Nice to
Take
meet
care.
you.
Okay.
Bye.
Hi.
You want me to do it right now?
What I'm presenting is simpler.
I hope so.
Okay,
Ready?
we're ready.
Yeah, I'm Michael Batch with the Bennington County Regional Commission, and I think we've talked about some of these things before, but Linda and Casey have been prodding me to help you all develop a hazard mitigation plan. And what that's about is that basically it's a FEMA construct. It's a plan that FEMA requires if you're going to apply for certain kinds of grant funding. It's not something that's required for you to do, but it opens the door to certain funding that otherwise you wouldn't be able to get. The other thing it does is, I forget what the term ERAF stands for, but there are a series of rules that the state has put out that basically say if you meet a certain set of criteria, you'll get more of matching funding from the state than if you don't. So one of those criteria is having a hazard mitigation plan. So we've already started the process. I'd like to get the select board involved because there should be some public involvement in this as well. And that can be done through, we could have a workshop or meetings, or just simply giving people here, the opportunity to learn about the process, and if they have comments or questions that they could contact me or contact the select board. It's not a very complicated process. Most of it has to do with assessing the different types of natural hazards that can affect the town, which I've already done a lot of the work on. And then the main issue that
Can you give me an example of when you say,
floods,
so it's a flood mitigation,
flood, windstorms,
tornado, whatever it is.
tornadoes, things like that. There's a lot of wildfires. I think when I came to one of the meetings, and actually Pownal's had more wildland fires, not very big ones, than any other town in the county. In fact, you've had more of everything than just about every other, except for meteors. You're not any higher on meteors than everybody else. But so we should basically look at those and identify which ones are priorities and develop actions. And the actions can be things like different rebuilding culverts, or assessing dams, or it can be as simple as having information available for people, so that if, for instance, there's a winter storm, you're not going to really do much about winter storms, but for power outages, having information available that people can say, okay, this is what you need to stock up on, and having battery, all the stuff you've already seen, having batteries, and having a wood stove or whatever, being careful about propane and the like. I mean, those kinds of informational things are actions, and those actually can be funded if it's a possibility of developing those kinds of brochures, or we can help you with those kinds of things too. So everything doesn't have to be building something; it can be educational and informational as well.
Okay.
And I had met with the planning commission about this some time ago, and so we kind of set this aside, but Linda's been pushing me around to get it going again, so we'd like to get it going again.
Okay.
So I guess the process is for me to, I met with Linda and Casey and was working on a draft. I could come back to you or to the planning commission, and we could begin to work through some of that. And as long as what's key for FEMA is they like to have public involvement. We can do that any way you want. But if we can at least have it on, as an agenda item on the select board.
Do you have the draft electronically?
Not yet, but it will be electronic, but I don't have a draft yet, so it's.
Yeah, when you
it's
have something
pretty-
electronically, I like to look at that, but I
Sure,
work a lot better if you send it where I can get it up on a screen.
sure, for sure. I can do that.
Okay.
So that's basically what we're talking about. The other thing, as part of that, I did want to mention that, last time I came here, we talked about getting a grant to look at the mobile home issue, and I contacted, the Agency for Commerce and Community Development, and they basically said, well, these kinds of studies have already been done by the Shires Housing, and I can't get a copy of that report, but if you all have one, it'd be great to have, but at any rate, they didn't
Was that-
smile upon our.
Was that the housing group that did that? The ones that, remember there was a committee group that,
This is the group that was in Bennington.
yeah, but,
They're gonna try to acquire one of the parks, but it fell through.
yeah, but they might have been working with our,
Okay.
can't think of her name, across the street, but Jordan was on it and a few others. Can't remember all the people that were on it.
Does that have
But I-
anything to do with the low-income housing program projects that was,
Yep.
that run around here in town?
I don't know.
That was when I was there, oh, you remember?
No,
About
this,
4 years, 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
yeah, I just remember having meetings in the library, and I know that those people came down and talked there. And there was a small study that was done on the housing. It might be something totally different, but I'll see if I can't find somebody that actually has,
Well, if there's something, it would be good to try to integrate that into this hazard mitigation plan, because you do have some people in mobile home parks that are, that are in vulnerable positions. And it might be something that the planning commission wants to think about with respect to the town plan as they go through their process. And again, mentioning these things is often a doorway to future funding. Doesn't necessarily require you to do something, but if it opens a door.
Yep.
That's what I like to try to advocate for you all. So if we could get that, that would be really useful.
and it was the Shires that did it?
Yes.
They were called something
John-
else
John
before
Broderick.
though, right? They were RAC or something before?
Yeah, or something, yeah.
Okay, because I think that was the group, okay.
Okay. Well, then Linda and I'll just keep plodding away.
I know somebody serves on that, so maybe I can get him to stir it up.
Yeah, good. So then the other thing I want to talk to you about, and I'm sure Hap has been keeping you up to speed on the universal recycling law.
He's been in Florida.
He's gone to Florida.
He's back now, I guess.
He's no longer going to be running the transfer station. Is it Jim
Gilbert.
Gilbert? Yeah. He and I have
Yeah.
emailed back and forth a little bit.
We basically, HAP's doing some consulting a little bit on it, I guess is the way to say it. So I don't know where he plays into this, but he's getting ready to go back down to Florida in December, so and stay there for most of the winter, so.
Well, we have been meeting about every month with representatives of 13 towns to develop a solid waste implementation plan. We're required to do this, or actually you're required to do this under the universal recycling law. And we've expanded it from, you're currently part of the 9 towns that adopted a SWIP, but we've expanded to include Bennington, Woodford, Stamford, and Searsburg, because they're interested in all doing this together. So we have quite a crowd, and we looked at different organizational strategies. There's quite a push on some fronts to some state agencies to form what's called a solid waste district, and we evaluated that, or at least our planning team evaluated that, and no one really wanted to see that kind of structure at this time. Basically, they were concerned about having another entity that might have authorities that they might not have control over. But we have, the group has decided they would like to pursue what's called a solid waste alliance. And what an alliance is basically is it's a contract between the towns that then allows you through that contract to hire staff or contract with staff. It's a much more formalized arrangement than you currently have, and it gives you. It does not necessarily. It doesn't give that alliance any more authority than you want them to. They can't, for instance, pass ordinances or tax or anything like that. But it does provide more structure in terms of shared services. So we're moving towards that, and so one of the things I guess I sent to you, Nelson, was, which would be good to get onto the agenda at some point, is a resolution basically saying that you'd like to form this alliance. We'd like to form a study committee to form the alliance. That's the first step, is to have a committee. You always have to have a committee to form something. So yeah, form a committee to study the committee, to have a representative, and then we would work through the process of developing this contract, and then you'd all obviously have to review it and approve it if you so choose. But it does formalize the structure. I think it's important so that you have more accountability about how funds are spent in terms of solid waste is a big program, as you probably know from just your transfer station. But the state requirements are going to be such that the amount of funding that we're going to need to implement what they want is going to be more than it is now.
That's the thing that you sent Jim Gilbert and
Yes.
I was copied on, I
Yeah.
think is what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. I didn't get a chance to read it, but I know what you're talking about. It was you had the minutes from some
Yes,
meeting,
I had a bunch of stuff in there. Yeah.
and then, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, I'll have to go back and look at it.
Okay.
I knew Jim got it, so I figured it was with him.
Well, what we've been doing is asking the towns to adopt the resolution and then appoint someone to this committee. I assume Jim would be, or whoever you want. What I think is important is whoever you appoint, come back and let you know what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm glad to come visit with you, but you really should have your own representative. I think almost every member of the committee is either a select board member from one of the towns, or we have the town managers from Dorset and Manchester and Bennington. So if one of you wants to serve, that'd be great. I know Ron would really like to do that.
There's enough government in this state already without me.
You'd be a good voice on that board.
There's way too much.
You'd be a
Stuff being
different
handed
voice.
down when, where's the waste go that comes from this state?
Where's it go?
Yeah, where's it go?
Well, a lot of it goes to the landfill.
That's right. And it don't go to landfill in Vermont. So why fool with success? It's working all right.
Can I motion that he,
You agree with Ronnie? Is that what you
Yeah.
said? See, Ronnie, you got somebody to agree with you tonight.
I know you've had discussions about the universal recycling. Also, I'm also available here if you have any questions or have any things for me. But that's basically where we're moving at this point. I'm working on a plan, which you'll all get to see once I get a little further along with it. But our committee is going to be also reviewing that, then bringing it back to the towns, and then forming this alliance as the structure that will implement the plan.
The key, I think, is I go way back when Stefan was our transfer thing. It's the lost control by the local group that's managing their transfer station. And I think that's the issue it sounded like they were having here, and now they've come up with this other committee to try and come up with something. The smaller towns really, at times, are just overwhelmed by the larger towns pushing things upon them that they can't afford. And I think, it's bad enough we got the state passing things without giving us funds to do them. That's what the fear is, even with these smaller groups doing their thing. You heard earlier when we were talking about the dog. The town right now has a huge issue with the amount of taxes some people have to pay that just don't have it. I'm sure that Ellen must have heard a few words this year when people came in and paid their taxes. I know before, when they weren't even this high, Clint used to hear it. People are really upset, so we got to be careful what we're doing and how we do it.
It's like
that doesn't
anything
cost.
else. It's being mandated. It's going to be
Without funds.
Exactly, and it's this is becoming the way that America is doing business. And I'm not saying it's the right way, but all these legislatures and all these grand people that we elect are passing all this stuff, and they're saying you have to do this, but you're not getting any money, so you pay for it. And you know, how much can the average person bear? You know, the wages certainly aren't keeping up with the rate of increase of taxes and everything else. I'm sure that 99.9% of the people would agree with that. And it's unfortunate, and I understand the whole process of this, and it's very good for most everybody concerned to recycle and to, you know, food waste and all this. It's probably a grandiose idea and good for the environment and people and everything. But again, it comes down to, if we can't afford to build a kennel for dogs, how are we going to afford all this?
Well, and it's mandating some of the things, you know. People have composters in their backyards, but we also have bears because of those composters.
Well, you know, for every, what did Newton say? For every action, there's an equal and opposite
Not far from you, I
reaction.
know.
You know,
With the garbage inside the garage.
the theory of relativity, I guess we can go back to, right?
Well, it's just that, again, some of this mandating, I think when they do this, they don't know the ripple effect. They're looking at the center of that ripple or the pond, and they're not looking at what's happening out here with the ripples. And they keep pushing those things on us, and it's really hard for municipalities or homeowners to even do some of the things they're talking about. I don't know who we're going to end up with running the transfer station over here. But can you imagine him going through bags to see if there's food waste or not food waste in them?
But you know, there are other parts of it that are probably easier to accept. I mean, if you make things easy, and I'm not going to deal with food waste because that is a complicated one. But if you make things easier for people, then they'll do it. Like for instance, one of the things I've been working on is Casella has a transfer station in Bennington, and right now, if you bring a fluorescent bulb there, they charge you for it. Well, you used to be able to you could bring it to Greenberg's and they take it for free, and Greenberg's isn't there anymore. So Casella has agreed to start taking them for free. There is a free program, and you could join this too. And it just, if it's easy, people will take it there as opposed to throwing it on the side of the road. And the more you do that, with more and more things, and not everything's going to work. Maybe food waste won't be a good one, but certainly batteries have become easier for people to deal with. Tires are a big problem. That's a complicated. Yep. So the thing is how do you make it? How do you find all these problem things and make it easy for people? And food waste is a complicated one.
But the more,
but other things,
but the more they grind them, you know, now they're using them, or you know, they grind them, they chip them, you know,
They burn them.
it's better than it was, I think.
Well, interestingly enough, there was a plant in Connecticut that would burn them, but natural gas prices came down so much.
No, they okay,
it wasn't worth burning the tires, which is kind of amazing when you think about it.
Yeah,
You think the tire,
yeah, that's where
getting them for basically for nothing.
all
But at any rate,
gas comes to
the issue being that if you begin to try to reach out to people and provide the systems to make it easy, in many cases it will save us all money.
I think we ought to reach out to the politicians and tell them, look, if you're going to send this,
I
sell
agree.
these poisons, all these stores are going to sell these poisons, like them Curly Q light bulbs, there shouldn't be any one of them in anywhere. I don't care how much they save on electricity. They're poison. If you break one of them, you got to put in your throw the kid away if it knocks the lamp over. That we shouldn't be selling in this country. And if we do sell it, you can bring it back. Here it is. You sold it,
Right.
manufacturer. Why should it be dropped on my lap? I wouldn't have one of them light bulbs in the house.
Right. Well, they
See?
and
That's one item.
part of the issue
There's
is
a lot of items the
is-
same way. Paint, same way.
yeah, part of the issue is pushing the manufacturer. But we have a paint law now, and you could bring paint to places for free. There's
That's
like 2 or 3 stores in Bennington where you
That's
can bring
right.
the paint. Yeah.
And who's paying for that? The manufacturers of the paint, not the federal
Right.
government, not the
Right.
state or
Right.
anybody else. They're always passing this stuff and passing it on. But if you know it when you buy it,
The concept of it's good, but you know, if you go down the road and you look to see how many cans are on the road that you could get 5 cents for.
Yeah, I know.
Are people taking these cans and saving them and taking them to the different centers and getting their 5 cents?
Yeah,
We're
my-
paying you to bring it back to us,
My
not
road-
just dumping it for free.
my
and
road
they
is the
won't
same.
even do that.
My road is the same. It's almost I think
It's insane.
I think it's not that they won't do it. I
They
get
don't want to
when I
spend the
go out,
time.
when I go walk down a road and pick them up, you know, I almost feel like somebody's just angry. You know, they're just no, they're really doing it because they're angry because it's all the stuff. Because
I went to a gathering with like a bunch of people over, and I shouldn't say it could have been anywhere, so I won't say where it was. But and they were probably, since we're all a little bit older here, they were all like late 30s, early 40s, and they're just throwing their nickel cans in the garbage. And I said, "Hey guys," and they got, "It's only a nickel."
Right. So you get 100 of them.
Seriously, but that's not the way they look at it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's
Go
where
to the
all
transfer
of the
station.
things-
We've got 4-H asking for all the cans that are a nickel. We've got another one asking for all the clear plastic bottles. And if you look in the bins, they're loaded with them. They don't even put them out and put them right there, right when it's next to them when they bring them in. You're always, and we're always going to have people that manage that way.
Not money either.
So what we're trying to do is legislate it so that they won't do it that way, but
That's the easiest nickel you can get.
how are we gonna do that unless we pay labor to stand there and sort through bags? And I just don't see that as a cost-effective way for the towns to manage it.
Well, you're not required to check bags.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. But
they have clear bags in Mass with it, so you can't even throw it away at some of the places without having a clear bag so they can look at the bag. And if you got something in it, you're gonna take the bag back home.
But believe me, none of this is directed to you
oh, I
because
don't mind.
they
No,
don't.
you know,
Throw it
it's. I think it's more of frustration on the part of the consumer, the end user. I think it's more of a frustration than anything else, and I'm sure a lot of people. You know, I've been recycling for years. Even when I was a kid, I remember, you know, begging my parents to take the wagon up to get my nickels so I could, you know, get the nickels so I could get some treats or whatever. But it's it's just another thing that the government is making you do, and it's getting harder and harder to get away from the government.
As a kid, I used to go out and pick them up on the road when they were 2 cents.
Oh, I remember that. I remember
bringing them in.
you'd bring a
So-
whole case back, and then you get a case. You'd refill them.
You fill up burlap bags with them so you
And then
can
that
get
When
your
I was a
money.
kid, they were just bottles.
But
There were no cans.
you're a youngster. But basically, what you're looking at is changing people's habits. And I think the way you do that is just the way they did it with tobacco and the rest of it. Start teaching those kids at the school at a very young age with their little bins, and they'll bring that home. And as they grow up, it will change. It might take a generation or two, but then everybody will recycle. But what you're trying to do is get the people who, in this state, which are mostly all older, to change their habits that they've been doing for 40
Right,
years or
right.
more. And that's very hard to do.
It is. It's very, and well, also we're inundated with all this stuff. You know, you go to buy chicken at the supermarket. It's all wrapped in plastic and comes in styrofoam. None of which you can get. None of which is recyclable.
That's right.
You know, you
And
don't
you
really
put
have
it in
a
a
choice.
plastic bag when you check out.
Exactly. Then they put a plastic bag when they check out because it
Man.
might leak. And then you have to take a big knife to open it because it's.
Boy, aren't we just cheerful tonight, huh?
All right. Well, we're back. Okay.
But I'll tell you, actually, I do want to, you know, we're talking about taxes, we're talking about these things. We're talking about joining, larger towns and so on. The only thing I can say about Pownal, and we want to talk about that is the problem that happens to the smaller town is the only thing they really get is a bill.
And
And that bill, wait a minute, and that bill has to get paid for, like with our town, homeowners. That's what we run our
Well, what we-
community on. We don't have any other
What we're
source
also
of
hoping
income.
is that-
So that's why we're in the predicament that we're in.
But we're also hoping we can offer more opportunities. Right now, you all participate with Shasberry when you do household hazardous waste events.
Right.
Well, maybe we could
that's
do
a
that.
small step.
That's right.
Maybe you could do that in Bennington instead.
Right,
Maybe that'd be a
right.
little closer.
That's
You
right.
know, and Bennington and Shasberry and Pownal could do an event. People don't have to go so far,
But-
and you know that
But when
that
we're
gives them
talking
more
about
convenience.
costs, all I'm saying is when we're talking about, that's what, you know, we talk constantly here about this word taxes and our cost to live here.
Yeah, I see you got some pretty big
and it-
bills.
You
A
know,
lot of roads in this town.
we have, right, and there's a lot of road, that's right. We have 60
the
miles
biggest
of road here, you know,
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
go to the rest of the towns, a lot
we
of
have
roads.
cost, I mean, there's no question
So,
about it. We have a great town, I mean, I'm not
regardless
knocking it.
of where we're going, you will report back to us, and you'll.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, I mean, my job is to help you develop this plan so that you're in compliance. That's
Good.
basically what I'm trying to
That's
do.
super.
So, and,
We're not against it. I think we
and-
just vented a little bit.
Yeah, and like I said, I think this
We have a
struc-
right to whine, you know?
this structure we're talking about in the form of alliance, I'm really seeing as a way for you all to make sure you have better accountability of how the tax dollars you spend to
That's
do
right.
these kinds of things.
And there will be money available,
Well,
supposedly.
it's going to come from you,
Yeah, but
but I think you're going to.
What have we been saying?
didn't I hear matching funds or no?
No, I didn't say
I think
magic
you
funds.
Are you sure?
You weren't dreaming.
Okay.
Well,
I'm gonna watch that tape.
we do get a grant from the state for the household hazardous waste events, and so does Bennington and Stanford and Searsburg does
Pownal
not.
gets a
But we would
And so does
we would be
Pownal.
pooling
Yeah,
those
We
funds.
get some of it. Okay. Yeah.
But I also think it gives you all, 13 towns to go yell at your legislature too, as opposed to one at a time.
Okay.
Maybe a
Or
little
if they're
stronger
watching.
voice.
Yeah. Find out, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, when that gets on the agenda, if you need me to come back,
Very good.
the resolution to form the joint study committee.
Could you send that to Linda?
I think I did, didn't
We
I?
all have it tonight.
Yeah.
Have it? Oh, you've got it here in the thing?
It's right here.
A big thick thing.
Oh, is that the? See,
Homework.
I thought it was something much smaller than that.
Yeah.
Shows you how
No,
good that.
if it comes from me, it's
copy
always
was sent to
thick
me.
and has BCRC written all over it.
You have trouble sleeping, Nelson.
Anything, you know, it's
There you go.
All righty. Well, thank you very much.
Sure, I just wanna make
Appreciate
sure
agreement,
it.
agreement,
Very good.
denial, yeah, just what
Okay.
you want.
We good, Linda?
We'll have our attorney look at this and
Yeah,
get
so
back
just
to you.
gotta get the resolution on the agenda
Okay.
for-
Very good.
Well, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks again for having me. I
All
appreciate
right.
it. Have a nice night.
Or just sign it.
So,
Take care.
Thanks. Anything else, guys? If not, I'll accept the motion.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you a little bit. I came over you off at the sun.